won't you be my I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you.
If you want to be a good neighbor, you're going to see people, you're going to stop, you're going to notice them, you're going to take care of their practical needs if you have the ability to do so. Do we live life that way, right? Number 2, week 2, Tammy talked about the transformation of our hearts. If the title of the sermon was, why do we do that? Why do we think that way? And the point was this: if we're to be good neighbors, if we're to love well, we need to be transformed, because there's certain things within us that stop us from noticing, that cause us to walk on by. There's certain things within us that need to be transformed. So we dealt into Psalm 139. David said, "Search me and know my heart. Change me so that I can actually be what I need to be." So it's not just going out and putting on, playing doctor. It's not going out and playing Christian. It's being it, transformed from the inside out. So that was week 2. Number 3, week 3, we talked about Cornelius and Peter as a model of a good neighbor, and they crossed boundaries, Jew-Gentile. Jesus always crossed boundaries, and we talked about what are the taboos and the sacred cows and the traditions that we need to tear down that keep the gospel bound, our own stuff. And so we looked at Hebrews 12, where it says, in the end times God will shake all things, the heavens and the earth, so that what remains is only of the kingdom, is only eternal. So we feel like the Lord's shaking not only the foundations of the earth, but the foundations of the church. And so it's like, okay, shake away. Break down and shake off of us so that we're not relying upon scaffolding, but we're face to face with Jesus. We feel like this is an isolation by design. Get face to face with Jesus. It's about you and Jesus. At the end times, so many will turn away. The question is, are we going to know His voice so well that He says left or right, we're good? And so barriers have to come off, and traditions and taboos and sacred cows, we got to put them away. The old way we did church for 200 years, that's okay. It can go away. It's who we are in Him and who we are in the world that matters, right? And so we don't hold on to the form, but we hold on to the essence of who we are and who our relationship is with Jesus. And so that was week 3. Week 4, Lindsay spoke on don't be weird. When you're in the world, don't get weird and religious and think you have to be something different than just the authentic you in Jesus. 1 Thessalonians was her passage. Being salt and light is not a duty, but a privilege. Just show up, be you, love enough to be willing to be available. People are asking and hungry for Him. He created us with this need. Will you be the one who stands in the gap? Do it for Him out of gratitude, not out of duty. And then Jay spoke week 5 on the art of neighboring. Here's my notes. It's not about you and me, it's about them. The ones that don't yet know Him. Let passion and intensity drive us. This is not a safe, fun, pretty, happy, easy thing. This is life and death. Remember Jay got all pumped up, passionate about the world and the plight of the world. And those who don't yet know Jesus, not only in America but in other parts of the world. And the question is, what are we doing about it? Does it matter to us? Do the things that matter for God, this is the last part of the note, do you have time for the things that matter to God? And do they matter to you? We sing a song around here that goes, break my heart for what breaks yours. It's like, do you know how God feels right now about the plight of humanity? About what's going on in third world countries, or about what's going on in our country, or what's going on in people's lives? Does your heart, does your spirit feel that? If the Spirit and our spirit and Jesus' Spirit are connected, then I should feel somewhat the way He feels, right? So open my eyes, help me to see what you see and have the same passion and intensity that you have that would send you to the cross. So the art of neighboring, and then last week we talked about being brave, overcoming the fear of failure and the fear of rejection, that you and God are enough. He chose 12 regular Joes, right? He'd probably come in here and pick 12 of you and me, and that would be enough to change the world. That you and Jesus are enough. Do you believe that? Because the enemy wants to put you under his thumb and tell you you're not enough. You don't talk too good. You're not that outgoing. You're not that pretty. You know, you don't know all the answers to all the questions they may ask about God or the Bible. So don't say anything. Right? That's just the enemy keeping us down. So we got to overcome those fears. We got to get out of our own way and just believe that you and God are enough. And go out and change the world one life at a time. So that was what led us up to this point, and that's been our summer series, and there's been some fun things happening. Show me a little picture here, Jay, or Kit, on baptism that took place yesterday. People are getting saved all over the planet. This was up at Lake Almanor, and just because we're not gathered doesn't mean the kingdom is not advancing. You know, I had about 4 of our teaching team. They're not here with us this morning. We have 8, and they go, does it bother you, Dan, that we're not there every week? And I go, absolutely not, because I know you're on mission. I know that you're out pursuing God, building His kingdom, spreading the gospel, making a difference. Darren's one of our teaching team. And it's just like, do that. That's what God wants us to do. When we get together, it's icing on the cake. You know? And so how do we become good neighbors? This is not like a summer series that we hope that it just ends in your life, right? Oh, we did that. That was nice. Wasn't that fun? We learned how to be good neighbors and sing goofy songs like, won't you be my neighbor, and play with a little, right? It's like, no, this is who we are in the world. This is who Jesus said, go love your neighbors as yourself. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And do this. And so those are our 2 mandates, right? And so hopefully this stuff continues to grow in you. Today we want to look at an obscure passage in the book of Luke, chapter 16, to kind of lead into it. It's a story about tenacity, ingenuity, and perseverance. It's a story about hustling. It's a story about doing whatever it takes, using every resource available to me to get the job done. Jesus says this in Matthew before we get into the Luke passage. He says, I'm sending you out in the world like sheep in a wolf pack. Right? So he says, therefore, be shrewd as snakes and gentler as a dove. Okay, what does that mean? Shrewd as a snake, shrewd as a, right? And so then he tells a story in Luke 16 where I believe he kind of expands on that passage a little bit and tells us, let me tell you what this means. What am I telling you to do? When I send you out to the world, when you leave Outlook Christian Church this morning and you go out to the world, what is it I want your mentality to be? How is it that I want you to live out there such that we get the job done? So let's go ahead and read this passage, Luke 16. Jesus told the disciples, there was a rich man whose manager was accused of wasting his possessions. So he called him in, and he says, what's this I hear about you? Give an account of your management, because you're fired. You can't be manager anymore. You're not doing it. The manager said to himself, oh, what shall I do? Go ahead and switch that screen there for me, Kit. What shall I do now? My master's taken away my job. I'm not strong enough to dig. I'm too ashamed to beg. And so he thought to himself, I know what I'll do. So that when I lose my job, people will welcome me into their homes. And so here's what he did. He called each one of his master's debtors, and he asked the first one, how much do you owe my master? He said 900 gallons of olive oil. He said, okay, go take your bill, sit down quickly, and make it 450, half of it. 450, give me 50%. Then he asked the second one, how much do you owe my master? He said 1,000 bushels of wheat. He said, okay, take your bill and make it 800. Pay me now. And the master then commended. Now, this is where it gets weird, right? The master, the owner, commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than the people of the light. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourself, so that when it's gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Is that pretty simple to understand? You get that? You see, this is where it gets weird. He's like, are you telling me to go bribe my friends? Hey, give me $10 to come to church, right? Hey, if you get baptized, I'll give you 100, It's like, that's weird, right? So be shrewd. The master commended the dishonest manager for being shrewd. Here's what some other translations say about this. The NLT, here's a lesson. Use your resources. Use your influence. Use what God's given you to benefit others. Make friends. Gather a community so when your possessions are gone, you'll all be together in heaven. The Passion Translation, the sons of darkness are more shrewd than the sons of light in their interactions with others. And so basically the word is this: you got to use your street smarts. There's not just one form. Oh, I guess if they don't want to come to church on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock over at 3697 Kings Road, then I guess they're all just wanting to go to hell. Are you kidding me? Someone told me this week, he says a drug addict who wants to get high, he's going to find a way to get his drugs. He'll lie, he'll steal, he'll cheat, but he ain't not getting high today. He'll do whatever it takes. The point is, do whatever it takes. Do you think about, do we just give up so easy? Do we just think there's one form that fits everybody? The point is this: be shrewd. Here's a definition of shrewdness so that you don't misunderstand. Definition of shrewdness: quick, discerning, perceptive, sagacious, keen, discriminating, intelligent. You're going to find a way to get it done. You're not going to give up easily. You're going to make friends, and you're going to influence people for the kingdom of God. With words, without words, by your actions. You're living for the king and the kingdom, and there's an enemy that's trying to keep people's eyes blinded to the gospel, blind to who their true identity is, blind to God's goodness, and by golly, you're going to show them different. That's it, right? Jesus tells the fisherman, come follow me. I'm going to make you fishers of men. How many know anything about fishing? You got to find the right doggone bait. You got to fish at the right time of day. Oh, they're not biting on that. I guess the fish aren't there. I guess we'll just go home and starve. Right? I mean, a true fisherman, it's like, I'm changing my fly out on my fly, ladies, right? I'm changing my fly out every 15 minutes. If I don't get a bite, if I don't get a hit, guess we're not hitting that today. Switch it out. We go underwater. We work off the bottom. We work on the top. We change colors. We don't give up. But sometimes as believers, that's why Jesus says, church, people, sons and daughters, the world is much shrewder, much more intelligent, much wiser, much more got what it takes than my own people. We should be shrewd about this, right? So use your resources, use your influence. And here's the thing, God will take you and everything you have to offer him, if you offer it to him, and say, Lord, help me use me in my neighborhood right now, today, at my job. Just use me. I'm all open, I'm all available. So what does God do this summer in my life, right? I got this lizard. You heard the story. Some of you met Elliot online. My neighbor kid, I lose Elliot. He goes on a walkabout. They're from Australia. And I can't find him for a couple, 3 hours. He crosses the street. I go, hey, neighbor kid. I don't know my neighbors yet. Hey, neighbor kid. He's like, what? I go, hey, you want to help me find a lizard? I mean, most kids like lizards, right? And, he's not small. He's, and it's like, yeah, he's like on a walkabout. He said, could be, your house, my house, neighbor's house. I don't know where he's at. And so he goes and he finds my lizard. He falls in love with my lizard. His mom buys him a lizard, bearded dragon. Now we become lizard buddies. Get to know the family, the folks. They've been at church the last 2 weeks. He's got to use his lizards. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not even that ingenuitive, right? My ingenuity is like, but I'm available. Use my lizard. I'm in Chile. I'm walking my dog. I don't know anybody. I'm supposed to plant a church in this town. I don't know how to meet people. So I'm walking my dog. And my neighbor comes out and he's walking his dog, and it happens to be the same breed of dog. What's up? God uses dogs. They become our best friends. They adopt us into their family. They give us the key to the city and introduce us to all their friends. The church starts through a dog. Or through baseball. I don't play baseball in Chile. What's baseball? Oh, it's this thing we do in the United States. Pretty big, pretty important, pretty, what? I go to university because all I know how to do is bartender, play baseball. It's like, what should I do? And through the baseball program, 70 university students come to the Lord, and the church starts. It's like, you don't have to do anything, just think outside the box a little bit. Just like, make a little bit of effort to be a little bit more shrewd, astute, aware, to build the kingdom, or to let God build the kingdom through you, where you're at. Just offer yourself and your stuff to God, and then look for opportunity. Don't, that's what he says. Children of the world are more astute. Their eyes are open. They're aware. They're going to find a way. Somebody said last week, I was reading on a church news website kind of thing, that business right now is being more ingenuitive, is being more astute, being more wise. Business is moving business forward. The church wants to go back to the past. It's been the story of the church all along. We're just like 2 years behind the world or 10 years behind the world. It's like, when are we going to catch up, and let's get creative and let's get, right? It's like the kingdom of God. The gates of hell will not prevail against us if we're on the offensive. We're not supposed to be on the defensive, people. When you go home, don't be on the defensive. Get excited about what God may or may not do with your lizard, your dog, your broken down car. Right? God will use anything. Oh, I broke down. Oh, my neighbor's a mechanic. Hey, you need some help? Yeah. But it's not just about the car. God may be doing something. That may be your new best friend. That may be your new challenge, because God's working on your character. And He may steal you blind to see if you're patient. It's like, I don't know what God's doing, but He's always up to something. And are your antenna, are you aware of what God's doing? And so that's the story here of Luke 16. And as we finish this series, I just want to encourage you to go get creative. Take each day and go, I have no idea what's going to happen today, but God's on the move. And it could be through some catastrophe that happens, through some opportunity that happens, through a mundane, normal, walk my lizard around the block day, right? Something could happen that starts something that could end in eternity. And that's the point that Jesus is making. So, second thing we're going to do as we finish up and close up is we've been talking for 6-7 weeks about being neighbors to those in our neighborhood, at work, in the world. But what we haven't talked about is how do we be neighbors to each other. See, when we come together as brothers and sisters in Christ, the purpose is to worship God and then to bless each other with your gifts, right? But many times we don't know. Have you been, the neighbor in front of you right now? You know the neighbor next to your next door neighbor? That guy, you know that guy, Michael? Barbara, you know Barbara over there? And so what we're going to do, and then we're going to end with some kids' fun stuff, because the kids are with us. We want to acknowledge them, celebrate them. But I'm going to tell you to do this. We're going to give you, because I know you're going to hate me for a minute. It's okay. I can deal with it. Church shouldn't be a place where you go, sit, listen to a monologue, leave, and you have not made connection with God or with each other. That's not what they did in the first century. So maybe the future of the church looks a little bit more like this, that we're getting ready to do. I'm going to tell you to do this. Be courteous to each other. And then get in groups of just 5 or 6. And you can stand. We won't take more than 5 minutes on this. You can hang for 5 minutes. Just do this. Hey, my name is. Fist bump, elbow pump, kick them in the foot, right? Not in the shin, right? Foot to foot. Say, my name's Dan. Been coming here for a few weeks or a few years. And then just say, how's this summer been going for you? Or I've been coming for a couple weeks. Just share anything. Introduce your kids. How do you feel about what's coming up with school? I'm a little nervous. Don't know. Just interact. Ooh, that's scary to talk to somebody I don't know. Yeah, got to get over our fear. There's people right next to you that love the Lord that are just like you. Searching. So I'm not going to give you any more instruction than that. Just say hi. Be a neighbor to one another for the next 5 minutes before we go home, and then I'm going to end. We're going to end with the kids, and the kids are going to lead us out of here. Okay? So let's be neighbors to one another. Go ahead. You got 5 minutes, and I will keep my eye on the watch here. That's what Mr. Rogers always did, right? That's how we started this thing. Okay. Good job. Allie, I need you up here. Come on up here. Hey, any kids want to join me up on stage? We're going to do a thing. We're going to do a thing. Thanks for participating in that little exercise. Thanks for participating in this morning's exercise about just praying and waiting and listening, and do that the rest of the week. And then go out and just be yourself and be bold. Live love out loud. Without excuses, So anyway, here's what Jesus says. So we're going to end the service this way. Right? He says, Matthew 15, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden, neither do people light a lamp, put it under a bowl. That's dumb. Why would you light a lamp and put it under a bowl? Right? Instead, you put it on a stand so it gives light to everyone in the house. So, stand, little light of the world. And we're going to sing This Little Light of Mine. This was our kids' little service project today. And so, she colored me a beautiful picture. And I put a video that our kids have learned a little bit. And so, Kit, hit it. And then we're going to go out and be the light of the world. All right. Here, let's turn around like this right here. It's bigger. All right. This is it. Come on. Hold on. Get ready.
You guys stomp your feet like that?
Get foot ready.
And let's clap together.
Come on.
That's it.
Now you don't have to
Keep it going. Let's sing This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, keep clapping now. Sounds good? Everywhere I go.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
Yes,
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let
called clapping on
Here
the
we go.
back.
Laughter.
All right, sing this real quiet with me now.
Even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine. Even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine. Yes, even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it